in the featherweight division between Danny Chavez and Kamaka. Kamaka picked up a point deduction in the second, which would have meant the fight went in his favour, but unfortunately for him, he ends up with splitting the result with a draw. And then we finished off the prelims with Chris Grutzmacher getting the decision over Rafa Garcia. Going into the main card, we opened up with Brian Barberena taking on Jason Witt in a fight that I was actually really looking forward to. A real kind of a difference in styles. Jason Witt, obviously well known for the ground game and the grappling, and Brian Barberena known for spinning people's jaws and trying to take people's heads off. And that's essentially what we got for 3 rounds of this fight. Brian started off a little bit nervy, working from the outside, and we saw that Jason Witt was kind of like controlling the centre of the octagon and looking for any opportunity really to go in for the takedown. And as soon as he spotted that opportunity, he was able to get Barberena down onto the floor, landing some big shots. Barberena avoided a quick early arm triangle and was able to kind of get back to his knees and then get back to the feet and land a massive right hand that really kind of wobbled Jason Witt. Witt goes again for the takedown to end the round in control, but yeah, he certainly felt the sting of Brian Barberena's shot in between those 2 takedowns. Going into the second round, and you would have expected Witt to kind of capitalise on that clearly more advantageous ground game, but to fair play to him, he's tried to stay and stand and bang with Brian Barberena, which is quite a brave thing to do. He ended up throwing some high kicks, shoots in for a takedown fairly early on, but it gets stuffed, and Brian is able to kind of like start taking control with the shots until he eats a clean route, which stumbles Brian Barberena, who bounces kind of onto the floor but into the cage, and he's able to use that kind of momentum to push himself back to his feet, and just as just as Brian Barberena is going to kind of try and land a big haymaker, Jason Witt is able to duck down, change levels, and get the takedown again, and it's really well done. Unfortunately, he's not able to keep Brian down for that long, and Brian's able to get back to his feet, land a high kick. But again, with that gorgeous, well-timed right hand, Jason Witt is able to knock Brian Barberena back down to the ground. Witt goes in and swarms, attempts for the guillotine, and it looks tight for quite a while, but Brian is able to work his way out eventually, and after a minute or so of kind of tight squeezing, Jason Witt knows he has to give it up, and Brian is able to survive. Gets back to the feet, lands some big shots, but you can tell that the takedowns and the pressures really took its effect on Barberena. He's very, very tired. We see Jason Witt finish the round going for another takedown, and again, as he did in the first round, he ends the second round in charge on the floor. So going into the third, and both guys were looking to just go for the knockout, which is interesting considering the kind of success that Witt had with the takedowns, but he clearly thought that there was the opportunity there to finish the fight with a knockout. But Brian is the kind of fighter that if you want to stand and bang with him, he'll happily throw at you all day long. And Brian was starting to land a lot more shots. The big swinging overhead right landed quite a few times, and you could see a number of times in this round where Brian actually wobbles Jason Witt and kind of almost makes Jason feel that maybe going for the takedown and controlling this third round would have been the wisest decision, because the last thing you want to do is have two really good rounds and then get sparked in the third. And that happened quite a few times in this round, where there were the potential of Barberena getting that knockout. There were points where Jason Witt did revert back to the wrestling. There was a good shooting to a takedown, which Brian was able to transition into his own kind of attempt at a guillotine. But the wily wrestling veteran Jason Witt was able to not only get out of the guillotine, but end up slamming Brian Barberena to the ground. Again, kind of like in the first round, he's not able to really keep him down for too long until Witt picks him up and slams him again. But this time he's able to pass the leg, grab some side control, and able to actually get some work down on the floor, landing some quite big shots, but Barberena is able to again push Jason Witt off and get back to the feet. And this is where both guys, with about a minute to go, are trying to just lay each other out with massive haymakers. Jason Witt goes for another takedown, is able to grab the leg, get the fight back to the ground. There's a point where Brian is trying to scramble out of the position, and Jason is able to almost get the back, and then after 3 rounds of Barberena just trying to knock Jason Witt's head off, we see him attempt to use a Kimura to be able to not so much get the submission, but to give Jason something to worry about and give him the opportunity to get back on the feet. 30 seconds to go. Brian Barberena knocks out Jason Witt's mouthpiece. Jason goes to pick it up and Brian clocks him. And the best ref in the world, Keith Peterson, tells Jason he's got to keep fighting. Luckily for Jason, he doesn't get knocked out, although he very nearly did. Brian was so kind of eager to get that knockout that he threw one last massive haymaker and ended up slipping and almost getting hurt himself when he fell on his knees. So that is the end of the fight. A really entertaining kind of mix of styles, like a real clash of styles, but really entertaining match to watch. And Jason Witt gets the majority decision. One judge giving it 28 apiece. With Witt getting the first 2 rounds and Brian getting a 10-8 in the third. Matt Bell gave Witt rounds 1 and 2, but gave Witt a 10-8 in round 2, which is interesting. And then Rick Winter with the standard 29-28 for your winner, Jason Witt. A great victory and a great fight all around. A really good way to start this card off. So, after a run of decisions and going to the judges all the way throughout the card scene from the very first match, this card was certainly short on finishers. So up steps Colin Anglin and Melsik Bagdasarian. Melsik making his UFC debut, as is Colin. And what an amazing fighter Melsik Bagdasarian is, coming into the UFC with a lot of heart behind him, on coming in on a 5-fight win streak. and yeah, he was massively impressive. Quite a scrawny, kind of slim featherweight compared to the much heftier Colin Anglin. But the power that this kid has is it's phenomenal, and the kind of like the confidence and the dynamic strikes that he's got is it was really something to behold. He started off really fresh with low kicks, great movement, really crisp mixtures of punch and kick combos, really kind of giving Anglin a hell of a lot to think about, and the way that Anglin was going to get any kind of success in this fight was by stopping those opportunities for Bagdasarian to use that dynamism and either use his clinch up against the cage or get the fight to the ground. Unfortunately for Anglin, every time he did attempt to clinch, Bagdasarian was able to break free and on his way out land some really hefty shots. He started landing some really good body shots. Throwing the combinations were just so hard for Anglin to deal with it, with the mixture of high kicks, low kicks, body kicks, body punches, jabs, hooks. Bagdasarian's got a really wide range of attacking styles, and his speed and accuracy are really something to be very impressed by. The sheer pace of his shots really kind of had Anglin on the back foot for the majority of this first round. And the big right hands coming down the middle, followed up with the kind of 1-2s to the body, the level changes. There was a point where Anglin was able to actually get the trip, get Bagdasarian down to the ground, but within seconds Bagdasarian's on his knees and back on his feet. There's just it was just so wily of such a young fighter, but to have such like a great kind of fighting brain, landing big shots as well, and there's nothing that Anglin could do to stop him. They were coming from every single angle. Anglin was able to survive that first round, but it was only because of the buzzer going, because I think with another 30 seconds or so, Bagdasarian was going to take that fight, and he kind of proved that into going into the second round. Again, he came out, he was the one being aggressive. You could hear Anglin's cornermen really kind of trying to push him on and kind of motivate him, but there was not really a lot he could do. There were Bagdasarian landing body kicks, left hand hooks. Anglin again was trying to use that clinch, which he found a little bit of success with in the first round, but he's just not able to control the speed and the accuracy of Bagdasarian. The end comes when and one of those rangy high kicks lands clean. Anglin drops to the canvas. Melzik follows up with hammer fists. And Mark Smith has no other option but to call this fight a day, and a great debut for Bagdasarian. And he, in his post-fight interview with Paul Felder, he was actually disappointed with his performance. He felt that he should have finished the fight in the first, and he had ample opportunity to, but it's going to be exciting to see just where this kid can go in this division. I mean, this featherweight division is not exactly it's not exactly threadbare. There's plenty of killers in it, and it'll be interesting to see just where Bagdasarian fits in the coming few weeks and months. But a great way to mark your debut, and an absolutely outstanding finish. So going into the middle of the main card now, and we're in the welterweight division. Jared Gooden taking a fight on 4 days' notice against Nicholas Stoltz, and what a performance for Jared Gooden. He scores the knockout after 1 minute and 8 seconds of the first round. Stoltz actually came out and he looked to press the pace. He landed a decent spin kick at the very beginning of the fight, and Jared was coming out swinging with punches. Missed quite a few, but was able to land quite a tasty little left hand. That kind of spurred Stoltz into swinging back. But Jared Gooden was able to just grip hold of Nicholas Stoltz and slam him to the floor. They didn't stay on the canvas for long and were soon back to the feet. But as they were getting back up, Gooden landed a massive straight right which dropped Stoltz. He's clearly dazed. And before we can see Jared Gooden put the exclamation mark on it, Herb Dean waves this off. A minute and 8 into the round, and a great win for Jared Gooden. 4 days' notice, and a potential knockout of the night performance bonus, which is a great win for him. Hopefully that'll help move him up the rankings in that welterweight division and get him a bigger fight. Going into our co-main event now. We're in the women's strawweight division with Cheyenne Bears taking on Gloria DePaula, and if Jared Gooden thought he needed to get in and out of there pretty quick, Cheyenne Bears essentially said, "Hold my beer," because she got the finish after only a minute, so shaving 8 seconds off Jared Gooden's record for this card. Bears started off pretty brightly, looking to use a quite obvious power advantage. Gloria DePaula ended up landing a couple of big shots of her own, and they both started doing some clinch punching, which gives Cheyenne the opportunity to drive Gloria DePaula to the ground. Cheyenne then lets Gloria DePaula get back to her feet, but just as she's left her knees, so she's essentially on her feet, but her body's still kind of like hunched over as she's standing upright. Cheyenne Bars just absolutely soccer kicks her clean in the face, but Paula goes straight back down to the floor. Cheyenne Bars thinks that she's got the walk-off knockout, but Gloria says, "Nope, I ain't finished yet, motherfucker." He's able to kind of like almost stumble away towards Cheyenne. So Cheyenne just turns around, lands a few extra exclamation point shots, and Mark Smith waves the fight off with a minute on the clock. Great victory for Cheyenne after not that impressive of a debut. She's now back in the win column, record of 6-2. So yeah, let's see where Cheyenne Bars can go next in the strawweight division. So going into the main event now, and we had Uriah Hall versus Sean Strickland. Former teammates, former sparring partners. Uriah Hall coming off that win against Chris Weidman with the leg break, and Sean Strickland coming off the victory over Krzysztof Jotko recently. And this is exactly why Uriah Hall may be the most frustrating fighter in the UFC, because there are moments with him of absolute brilliance. The fight against Anderson Silva, the one punch killer knockout power that he possesses. And then there's fights like this where he doesn't show up to the party at all. This was essentially a 5-round beatdown. Sean Strickland was outstanding all the way through this fight, where Sean clearly had the advantage in wrestling. It should have been game, set, and match when it comes to the having the fight on the feet with the power, the range, the movement of Uriah Hall. This should have been a really tough time for a fighter like Sean Strickland. But Uriah Hall just did not show up. I mean, it was the guy's birthday today as well. But yeah, he just too many times in his career has this Uriah Hall turned up to a fight. He looked slow. He wasn't aggressive. He ate a hell of a lot of shots in the first round. Sean Strickland's jab was landing pretty much every single time, and there was just not a lot that Uriah Hall was doing to combat it. He only really kind of like perked up in the first round. With about a minute to go when he landed a crisp counter right. I'm not actually going to even go through this fight round for round, because this is just, like I said, it's a huge beatdown from Sean Strickland. His jabs were absolutely gorgeous. His combinations were really on point. There were multiple times throughout the fight where he had Uriah Hall stumbling, where he had the opportunity for the takedown. A couple of times Uriah Hall was able to stuff him. A couple of times Uriah Hall was taken down. Uriah did land some of his own shots, as you would have expected him to do, but it was too little. There was just not enough of it. A couple of times he could have followed up with some of his shots after they kind of shocked Shane Strickland, but to kind of follow up on that, there wasn't enough urgency. There wasn't enough pressing of the pace from Uriah Hall. This was Shane Strickland really kind of stepping up to the mark and showing that he belongs at the top end of this division. I think he'll be disappointed that he didn't actually get the finish, especially with the amount of jabs and the amount of hooks that he was able to land, with the control that he had on the ground, and able to score takedowns time and time again. It was so disappointing, because Uriah Hall is a big favourite of ours here at 5 rounds, just because he has that kind of that ability to be a killer. Unfortunately, the pussycat Uriah Hall was on show today, and Shane Strickland was able to capitalise on that, and he goes on to get the unanimous decision. Some of the judges even giving 10-8 rounds. So I think there was a 50-44 in there. So yeah, it's disappointing from Uriah Hall, but all power to Sean Strickland for controlling the fight, and especially after the controversy he had recently with his sparring partner Orlando Sanchez, when he accused Sanchez of basically using a submission that could injure him in the build up to this fight. He got a lot of backlash for posting the video and for the way his attitude was. But at the end of the day, it's paid dividends for him. He's come away from this with the great victory. So let's quickly look forward to next week. It's a numbered pay-per-view next week, and it's headlined by a controversial heavyweight interim title match from I think it's from Houston, the home of one of the main event stars, the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. He's going up against Cyril Gane to see who will be able to claim that interim title and eventually go on and face Francis Ngannou. But that's not even the half of this card. There's some banging fights on this card. We've got Casey Kenny taking on Song Yadong. We've got Angela Overkill Hill taking on Tisha Torres. Michael Chiesa is back in action against Vicente Luque. Co-main event of Jose Aldo and Pedro Munoz. So this is a massively stacked card. It's going to be a fun card to watch. So definitely tune in here to 5 rounds to listen to what we make of the show. Hopefully Carlos will be back next week. Unfortunately, real life does get in the way, and he was unable to make it today. But thank you everybody for listening. We always appreciate your support here at 5 Rounds, and what we will ask is if you can go and support the people who are providing us with the platform to bring this content to you week in, week out. So that's the guys over at Visionaries Global Media. That's the amazing team that I'm part of over at the Chair Shot, and that's also at our new venture at Radio Tekkers. So please go and give them a like, go and give them some love, and go and subscribe to their feeds. I will massively appreciate it. Thank you for listening, and that is the end.